This is example 4. We're going to sketch a curve which meets the following criteria. So in this grid, in column 1 are your x values or your interval. In column 2 is evaluating the derivative function, and what you would get is a positive number, a negative number equals 0. And then I added one more column called the gradient or your slope. So in the first row, our x value, in this case our interval between negative infinity and 1, and then the value when you evaluate the derivative function is a positive number. So that means your gradient or your slope is a positive. Then when your x value equals 1, your derivative function, when you evaluate it, you get 0. So that means there's a critical point at x equals 1. So there's a sign change. So that gradient is 0. All right, moving on. Next interval, between 1 and 3. When you evaluate the derivative function, you get a negative number. So your slope is a negative. Then at x equals 3, your evaluation of your derivative function gives you 0. So you get another critical point. So the slope is going to be 0 there. Our last interval from 3 to infinity. When you evaluate it, you get a positive number. So that slope is going to be a positive. So now we're asking you to create a sine function. So if we go between negative infinity and 1, that slope was a positive. And then there's a critical point at x equals 1. Our slope at that point was 0. And then between 1 and 3, the gradient was negative, so your sign is a negative. And then at 3, when x equals 3, you had another critical point, and that gradient is 0. And then from 3 to infinity, that slope was a positive. So to create a sketch of this graph, it's doing something like this. It's increasing. Critical point means there's that maximum because going from a positive sign to a negative changes direction. There's your critical point. Slope is 0, increasing. So that's what your sine function will look like. You're going to have a local maximum at x equals 1. And then you're going to have a local minimum at that other critical point at x equals 3.